Hey, everybody. Yes, back in the land of the living. Woo! So, allergies and a cold all in one day. I don't know. That was terrible. But we're doing okay now. So, feel strong today. Feel good. The kitties hung with me. Thanks for all your well wishes. Just a momentary lapse. So we're here in Maine to do a lot of relaxing and all of those things. And you'll see probably my pattern of videos on the channel will change this summer. Just cycling into a different gear. Yeah, cycling into a different gear. So I want to get a couple cards about where messages to the collective today about what's going on for you. There's some topics I want to discuss that we've been dancing around for quite a long time. Has to do with can twins be narcissists and things along those lines. And I know we've sort of answered, we've talked a little bit. You know, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. I am a journalist by trade, which means that I research and I try to present information that I have found relevant. And so you can take it or not take it. But I want to, let's see here. Hoo-ah. Taking off my sneakers. I feel like Mr. Rogers, which is a great person to emulate, by the way. Fred Rogers. Okay, so let's just see here what we get. This is the Gaia deck. And then I'm going to pull some in the Sacred Traveler Oracle too. And my intention for right now is messages that are needed for the collective right now. Messages that are needed for the collective right now. Right. Liberation. Freedom from attachment. Breaking free from a negative attachment. Wow. Boy, does that... Zen garden, inner sanctuary. Gaia, wisdom, knowledge, spiritual understanding. Oh my goodness. The universe is really bringing it today. Moonlight goddess, repressed emotions, healing, reflection. So what I am experiencing as I do my research, as I sort of look into things, the deck here is reflecting this. The liberation is key here, breaking free from a negative attachment. So for all of those of you guys, I mean, there's a lot of empaths in this group of people. There's a lot of, and I don't say this with any disparagement because I am totally right there with you. The idea of hope, the idea of help, right? Healers, y'all are healers. And on this journey, one of the things I feel is most important for us to understand is that even though we are connected, right, that physics is showing us that we're just a bunch of molecules and other people, we're connected, we're more connected than you think, okay? But one of the dangerous parts of that for us, and I say that, I choose my words carefully because danger is a good word to use in the sense, is that we think because we are so connected to a person that we can heal them in a way that doesn't require their consent, right? They're just off there being awful. It's the Disney-esque thing. It's the Disneyfying of, people who have some real personality disorders, narcissism, bipolar, things, or narcissism, bipolar is an emotional thing, is an illness, right? And narcissism is a personality disorder, right? Bipolar is something else. Bipolar is chemical and all this other stuff. Narcissism is something that is not fixing that. So when we talk about twin flame, we talk about this community about, and I read the stories and I see the connections and stuff. I want to present to you some ideas about how you might want to look at attachments, okay? First of all, how many of you understand attachment theory? Okay, I'm an adopted kid. So there was a lot of information for adopted kids about attaching and not attaching to parents and things like that. Also, so that's a very important thing to look at for yourself, because there's unhealthy attachment, there's healthy attachment, right? And there is how we do that or don't do that. There's a dance there, right? There's this dance of someone who is resistant to attachment and someone who is constantly pulled to attachment. And so I want to present that to you, attachment theory. That's probably a video for another day, because right now I want to talk about someone who has a personality disorder, how they attract this empathic human being. And it can range everything from PTSD, combat PTSD, all the way to, someone who is displaying narcissistic personality traits, although they're not diagnosed a narcissist, right? It's a spectrum thing. So some of the questions we've been seeing on the channel are, can someone who has this personality disorder really be a twin? And there's so much to that. Okay, there's so many layers. First of all, people are complex. People are complex. And what I do know, though, is what I think you should be aware of is the psychological layering here, this whole idea of a personality disorder, antisocial personality. That's the psychopaths, right? There's the sociopaths. There's the narcissists. And these people are very attractive to empaths, because empaths on a foundational level believe everyone is essentially good, and that they're just inside, they're really just scared about a situation. And so with enough love, they'll crack Beauty and the Beast, right? They'll crack open and, they're just this warm, gooey person. And that's not necessarily true. I've been listening a lot to someone whose name is Richard Grana, and he's a Brit. So I want to credit what I just said to him. And where I learned a lot of this from is Richard Grana, and I want to turn you on to him. He is someone who is much less on the spiritual side of things, more into the psychological. He's not a psychiatrist. He's not a psychologist or anything like that. He is a coach, and he is someone who is a good researcher, and he is really focused on this, the DSM-4 version of, or DSM-4 diagnoses of cluster B, which are personality disorders. So I want to turn you on to him. Okay, I'm not going to really talk about that, because our job here is to talk about the spiritual lessons that are being learned, and how can we view a situation. And I do think, first of all, I want to say, I do really think a lot of people, especially in the twin community, maybe focused on a person who has one of these personality disorders, because it is literally a dance with your own belief system, who you are as a human being, your openness, your belief that people are inherently good. And I listen, no shame in that game. I believe that too, but that's how they see you, and that's how they attract you, or that's how they're attracted to you. So in the spiritual realm, I'm going to shut off the camera when I have to cough. So I just took should be okay now. So I want to move, we can talk about the DSM-4. I want you to watch Richard Grana and stuff about narcissism and things like that. But over here in the spiritual learning about things, and the awareness of how you progress in your journey here, how you're progressing. A lot of people I've noticed are super drawn to this narcissistic personality, are super drawn to this codependent situation, because it feels in a higher vibration, right? It feels not a higher vibration, but it feels a strong pull. And, whenever, I do want to say to you that it is my belief that whenever you feel that super strong connection, that buzz, that thing, I want you to question yourself and say, is this something I need to heal? Because you can't heal that person. You can, as an empath, you're a healer, okay? But healers require another person who wants to be healed, right? It's a collaboration. They have to want to be healed because they're the ones that need to do the work for themselves. You can't do the work for them, right? And you know this, you guys who are healers, you guys who are teachers, you can't do the work for them. What you can do is you can provide them with information and support and all this other stuff. I feel like a lot of people in the spiritual community get sucked into supporting people who are in those personality disorders or in those emotional disorders or whatever is going on because of this very high voltage connection. And some people are labeling that as twin flame. Okay, not everybody, because there are twin flames. But part of the twin flame journey, I feel, is that you come across these really strong pulls because you need to heal yourself. That's something to heal for yourself. And don't make the mistake of focusing on them. Focus instead on yourself. So what I'm trying to do here is bridge the gap of some very real psychological personality disorders, some very real things, okay? And why strong connection can be mistaken for twin. And in fact, it is kind of twin because when you see that strong connection as an opportunity to heal yourself, you got it. That's the road. That is the road to go down. Okay. So anytime you're in this, and I know a lot of us have crossed paths with that, you know what I'm talking about, that strong energy, that strong push-pull, the runner chaser, all of these things. It's really just code for, okay, what's the lesson for me? And how can I work on myself? How can I heal myself? And I'll just give you an example. So one piece, I was watching a Richard Grana video today about combat stress. And this woman who was like, I feel compelled to stay with this person, to heal this person because, they got this CPSD and blah, blah, blah from being in Afghanistan. And, this is something I feel, strongly pulled to do. God bless her, right? God bless her. What he was saying was that there's a whole stuff around that societally about, military and, all kinds of stuff around that, which I won't get into. I'm really more focused on you guys, that, Florence Nightingale and this Disneyfication of relationship. And so what I feel, and this is just my experience here, is you're being pushed to see that you, what is the word I want to use? Build the talent and skill and self-protection and capability of becoming aware of what you can do and what you can't do. And what am I so strongly attracted to that I feel like I need to sort of throw myself off a bridge for this kind of person and all of that stuff. And instead, take that energy that you're giving to that person and turn it back around to yourself. And say, you know what, I can't do it for them. They have to do it for themselves. How can I heal myself? Am I attracting a lot of narcissistic people into my life? Damn right. Am I attracting those with codependency into my life? Damn right. Okay, so you can only handle you. And even healers, even teachers, whatever, we can talk and we can share information, but it is really up to you to take that information and focus it on healing yourself. And I know that that's the boring part of this whole situation. We've talked about this many times, and I'm going to read to you some of these descriptions of these cards. This liberation thing is really what I think is going on right now. Liberation, finally seeing things for what they are, creating a reality for yourself that is a healing reality, right? I'm not suggesting going down this 3D rabbit hole where everything is, danger, danger, Will Robinson. I'm suggesting that how can you use, the universe is showing you these lessons. How can you use these lessons? That person is karmic. In a way, it's helping you on the journey. Okay, so I want to read a little bit about each one of these cards that I pulled that were about where are we, right? So this could be like already happened to you, or this could be something that's coming down the road here. And I do love this liberation card, breaking free from a negative attachment. And, whether you're identifying a situation as karmic or you're identifying it as codependent, like however you fall on the spectrum of like, I look at things from a psychological point of view, I look at things from a spiritual point of view, it almost doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, these situations are presenting themselves so that you can learn a lesson for yourself. And that's part of this whole spiritual path. So I want to read to you. I don't really read on this channel very much, but I read a lot out of the channel. So I want to read this to you when we're talking about the liberation. Okay, that's better. Whether you realize it or not, you have become too emotionally attached or dependent on something or someone, or you have allowed or inadvertently caused someone to get too emotionally attached to you. What at first seemed like a healthy friendship or interest now seems to be taking over your life or is creating too much codependence. A situation that initially seemed like a positive has now revealed its negative side. This is, in effect, like a form of addiction. I never thought of it like that. I was always sort of like in this place of, addiction is not, addiction, I look at it like, booze or porn or whatever that kind of thing is. But this kind of Disneyfication of stuff is kind of an addiction. There is addictive qualities to it. I'm not calling anybody an addict. I'm just saying there is kind of an addictive quality to it, that you are no longer in charge of your own, or it feels like you're out of control. If it feels like you're out of control, that has elements of addiction to it, okay? You are advised to examine this issue and then create some space between you. For your sake and for the sake of others, you must do whatever it takes to break free of this negative emotional attachment. Initially, this may cause some resentment or even a sense of panic, but the end result will be worth it. When you manage to emotionally detach yourself from this issue, you will have learned a valuable lesson, and this will serve you well in the future. So there's some affirmations here that I think are really good. I'm a big fan of affirmations. I don't know if you guys ever, there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube where it's like 8 hours of affirmations. I am powerful. I'm going to posit to you, and maybe we should do this on the channel, to go look up some of those affirmation things and play them for yourself as you sleep, right? We're trying to get at your subconscious. We're trying to get at the place of like things that are underneath the surface that are driving behavior that you're not really, you don't know why you're doing stuff, right? You don't know why this is good for you. You don't know, or not good for you. But here's some affirmations that go directly to this liberation, breaking free from a negative attachment. I release myself from all negative attachment. I trust that this is for my highest good. I trust that this is for the highest good of all, right? If you have an altruistic piece of this, you can talk about how you're hoping, or you're saying, not hope, I trust that this is for my highest good. I trust that this is for the highest good of all. I help others most by not allowing myself or them to be codependent. I look at every situation in a balanced way. That's some powerful stuff, right? So some of these other cards that came up, first of all, Zen Garden came up, which is really cool too. I am going to do a full-on reading, and I will, you can come on over to Vimeo for that part, but this I thought was important. So Zen Garden here, life is full of ups and downs, a constant ebb and flow between war and peace. Everything has a positive and a negative charge, right? Harmony and disharmony, order and chaos, clarity and confusion, calm and conflict are all partners. In our physical world, you cannot have one without the other. Yet, like all of us, you sometimes wish that things could change. Why can't we just live in peace? Well, the answer is that peace is possible, but you can only find it from within. And I think that's important when we're talking about the other. We're talking about a lot of stuff. When I was in college and stuff, we talked about our own humanness, our own psychological makeup, our own experiences, and then there's the other. And when you deal with a narcissistic partner or someone with a a cluster B kind of, not bipolar. Sorry, it's borderline. There we go. When you deal with someone who has these, personality issues, that's kind of a generous way of putting it, but there's a lot of focus from the empaths and teachers and whatever on the other. And also, I don't know if this makes you feel better or not, but narcissists only exist because of your reflection of them. They're using you as a mirror to reflect back to themselves. That's why Narcissus, right? He fell in love with his own reflection, and he drowned because he was trying to kiss himself in the lake or in the river, right? He drowned because he was so enamored of himself, of his own reflection. He literally killed himself. He literally drowned. That's where narcissistic personality comes from. That's the name of that. That's why that's the name of it. And so it's a reflection. They connect to you because you gave them such admiration and such self-esteem. It comes from a place outside themselves. They literally cannot survive without you. They can't. It's like oxygen to them. So that is a very unhealthy way of going through life. It is also a personality disorder. It is not something, and this is not coming from a spiritual perspective, this is coming from a mental health perspective, that is not fixable. They can become aware of it, but it's their entire, who they are they built it themselves out of a kit and by using other people to reflect back to them this grandiose sensibility. People who have lived their whole lives like that aren't fixing that, right? And even if they wanted to, they would so shatter their own inner, to be reflective. They're not reflective. They're not self-aware. They're not looking to themselves, being like, how could I have done this differently? No, not happening. So part A of this is see the truth of a situation and know that this is a situation psychologically and empirically that is out of your control, okay? And then what is in your control is you're seeing, you go back in the files. Sit down and write out the people you've dated, people you've married, people you've coupled with, whatever. Write it down and see how much has been this kind of dance, right? And understand, because you guys, here's the best part about this whole thing. Because you are empaths, because you are people who are here spiritually wanting to learn lessons, wanting to grow in spiritual in your spiritual development, everything. This is being placed on your path because there is an empathy for other people. Say thank you for that. Be grateful for that you have empathy for other people. Yes, do you get hurt because of it? 100%. Agreed, okay? But now we're bringing it out of the subconscious and up into your consciousness. That's part of the spiritual journey for you. It's like, oh, I see that now. Okay, I see that now. That's why I want to turn you on to Richard Grana and people like him who really have done a very deep dive into all of this information and have brought to the surface, stuff that will make you go, seriously. Yes, that's exactly. He's not a psychic. He's not any of that. He's not in the spiritual world, but he will bring you some peace of mind, I think, about the situation. So you can see it and you can do for yourself what is right for you, what is going to help you on your spiritual ascension. Do we have people like this crossing our paths? Yes. And you know what? They're going to keep coming. Once you learn this lesson, you're going to be like Wonder Woman, right? You're going to be like fighting them off. And you're going to be able to be like, I see you. And it's not going to hook you, right? That's healing. Some people come onto the channel and be like, oh, I'm healed. Or how do I heal? Or whatever. But I keep getting in these relationships. I keep getting into this thing because I think it's a twin or I think it's promise you, this is about a lesson. This is not about living in this kind of experience, okay? Because you're here to learn this lesson. If it keeps happening or whatever, literally learn the lesson and walk away from this and walk towards something that's healthy for yourself, right? And the universe will provide. The universe will bring the next situation. You'd be like, I see that. I don't have to go down that road again. It doesn't mean that it's going to disappear completely right away, but it will diminish because you'll be cunning. That's what Richard Grana talks about, becoming more savvy and more, it's not like you're jaded about people or anything like that. It's just self-love. That's what self-love is. It's like, you know what? Right? You have that beautiful little, fairy dust and unicorn little girl, little boy inside. And you also have your parent and your adult inside, right? From the 70s, I'm okay, you're okay, right? So you have these other states of your personality. And what is being hooked is that little child who believes in magic and who believes in all that stuff. And those are worthy. That is a life worth living, right? But you also have people who are going to be attracted to that light. So learn how to do the Wonder Woman thing. She's powerful, right? She's not, I'm not about hurting other people, right? You're not about that. You're about taking care of that little girl, because the magic does happen when someone who is attracted to you is attracted on a higher vibration. That's what we've been talking about here all along. Okay. All right. I am going to keep going. If you want to come with me, I'm going to do more on where we are on the journey right now, but that was a video worth having its own experience for. And this is beginning of June. So we're going to look at where we are on the journey and what is coming down the road. Okay, so the link is below for that if you want to keep going with me. Otherwise, there you go.